Hello, I'm Rupert Turton, and welcome to the Business Spotlight interview, where we talk to local business owners about their journey. This week, I'm joined by Anna Morrish, who's the founder and MD of Quibble, who are a digital marketing agency based in Uppingham in Rutland. Anna, good afternoon.
Hello, thank you very much for having me.
Oh, great to have you here. Really looking forward to hearing a bit about you and the business and the journey that you've been on. I think the first thing to do is just to have you explain a little bit about your history, and particularly about Quibble and what Quibble do.
Yeah, so oh gosh, my history. Well, I come actually from a publishing background. So I started out working in magazines.
Hmm.
After that, went into work at a digital marketing agency, which I loved, like the kind of fast pacedness of it all. But eventually, I moved in-house, so I've got a very broad kind of experience. I've seen it from every angle. But yeah, it was after that I thought, you know what, I kind of want to do this myself, and I'd always had that kind of head on me. So yeah, I've obviously had marketing experience of over 10 years, and then eventually set up Quibble in 2016. So Quibble starting out as just a content-based agency. It's anything basically with the written word. So that, social media, email, articles, the like, web content, all of that kind of stuff. But we evolved over time to include other services and other elements of digital marketing. So SEO, PPC, so Google ads, Facebook ads, all social ads and things, as well as web dev and PR and digital PR. We're a full service agency. We actually celebrate our 7th birthday this year. So yes, it's gone well thus far. Yeah.
Excellent. So what have been your biggest learnings since you became a business owner then?
Oh gosh, that literally anything can happen. Every day is an experience.
Yeah.
And it is like a roller coaster. Like 1 minute you're on an absolute high and everything is going amazingly, and then something can just completely throw you off, and you think it's the end of the world. And I think as a business owner, because it essentially becomes your baby, it's, you build it, you care for it, and you want to nurture it, so you're constantly trying to keep this baby alive. But I think it's just a case of you've got to ride it out. And things always, when you think, oh my God, worst of worst, everything's actually always okay. So it's just essentially just a case of riding it out.
That's an interesting point, because actually that I think every business owner, anyone who's run their own business, goes through that roller coaster ride. And let's face it, you can go through the whole roller coaster in an afternoon as well, can't you?
Yes, you can. And I think you've just got to accept it and realize everything will be okay. I think it's hard sometimes to, when you are so involved in it, to actually take a step back and think, actually, no, we can sort this out, or we can ride this out, or whatever the situation is, it will resolve itself. But at the time, I think you always think it's the worst of the worst. I think it's just a case of, take that breather, go for a walk, whatever it is, and just ride it out. But every day is an experience, that's for sure.
Yeah. So what's the I suppose actually let's take that example. When you're going for a walk, what's actually do you have to think about? What's going on in your head when you're trying to work that one out?
So for me, so obviously you get two different types of people. I think people that thrive off of the positive of different things that go on, and then you get people that thrive off of negative. So something negative happens, that drives them, and they know, cool, right, I know exactly what I've got to do. I am the person that I thrive off the positive. So for me, when anything negative happens and I go for that walk, I have to just completely clear my mind. I can't focus on that negative thing that's happened. It is a case of literally breathe, clear my mind, even doing things like kind of breathing techniques, just because it helps that repetitiveness and clears your mind. So so many breaths in, hold, or for so many seconds, and then let it out for so many seconds. I think it's like 4, 4 and 4. But there's various different techniques that you can do. Even going to the gym is really therapeutic. So again, it's a counting thing. So I might do so many sets of something, or I'm looking at how long I'm doing something. It's all numbers, and the counting thing sets me straight.
So very much, yeah, it's about distraction from whatever it is that's
Yeah.
pushed you down there in the first place
Yeah.
and sort yourself out. Now, I was curious because I've talked about this before, actually. Zach Brown, who's the CEO of McLaren,
Oh
he
yeah.
talked about, I was listening to an interview he did, and he was talking about some people are motivated by fear of failure.
Mhm.
Some people are motivated by a vision of success. And it's quite interesting. So I'm definitely, and I'm quite a left brain sort of person, quite logical. So I'm very much fear of failure. So actually I have to work on the right brain and moving everything across to the right brain and vision of success. So I put things in place to make sure that happens. And I'm just curious to see how you did, particularly as you're what I would consider to be a creative sort of person as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, yeah, I think, yeah, as I say, I'm definitely positive. My husband, he's complete opposite. He
Oh,
thrives off of like anything negative happens, he has the solution. And
yeah,
like you know that you can count on him for anything like that. He's brilliant.
yeah,
So yeah, it can work well. And yeah, it's got its advantages and disadvantages. But
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and actually we were talking about it just before we started as well, but you do work with your husband. You're both partners in the business.
indeed,
But
yes.
how does that work? What have you had to do? How does that relationship work?
You know what? It's one of them things. At the start, I think when he initially joined the business, it was one of them things that we kind of had to fight it out a little bit.
Hmm.
So I think obviously he had actually run a business before and an agency before,
Yeah,
so he had his views of how things should be done. Yet I was obviously setting things up myself and kind of didn't want to lose that element of power and like this is how I want things done, and I've started this business. So it was kind of a bit of a power struggle probably to start off with, and working out which roles we would take on.
yeah,
But now it works absolutely brilliantly, and yeah, we rarely argue at home or in the office. Like we get on really well. I think when we work together, and obviously we're living together, you have to learn to get over any disagreements that you have really quickly and get to the
yeah,
point really quickly. And you can't give someone silent treatment. You can't just let things build up. You have to share it. You have to communicate.
yeah,
And you know what, we, as well as obviously managing the business and all the projects for our clients, we do a similar thing at home. So
yeah,
we don't have that situation where people say, oh, you've not done the washing up and you've not done this, you've not done that, because we manage everything. Like we project manage things. It's really weird, I suppose, but it works really
and sharp
well.
for dinner.
Yeah, it's all sorted. Yeah, so we've just got really clear views of everything, so we know
Mm,
exactly what we're both thinking.
yeah,
So yeah, no, it works really, really well.
cool. So we've talked about the business and go since 2016. Obviously, in that time, you've also had to ride through the COVID-19 and lockdown and everything that entailed. So what changes did that force you to make?
So in terms of changes, I think it was, the fact that people were forced to work from
Mm,
home. So we
yeah,
were, I've always built the business and the values and the way that we work around the people and what I want, and thinking, do you know what, if I want this, you guys want to have probably similar or have the same kind of benefits. So
yeah,
I wanted that option to be able to work from home before and to have flexible hours, because that was, it was an extra benefit, and they had the option, like all the guys had the option to do that.
yeah.
Rarely did anybody ever take it up. Nobody
Okay.
said, put their hand up and said, oh, actually, can I work, from home today? Or do you know what, I'm going to work from the Isle of Wight today, or whatever it is. People just didn't take us up on it. And COVID forced people to actually take that kind of advantage and that benefit. And when we started returning to work, I gave people the option. I sat everyone down and said, how do you want it to work? Like, do you want to come back to the office full time? Do you
Yeah,
want to be at home some of the time? Do you want your hours to change? Like, what would work for you? And actually everyone was on the same thinking, that yes, they still wanted to come to the office because of culture, to actually have
yeah,
some communication with people,
yeah,
have a bit of banter,
yeah,
and have a laugh. But actually working from home was working as well, so they could manage their time and manage the stuff that they were working on. So if they really need to knuckle down and get their head into something, maybe working in the office wasn't ideal at that point, so they could manage that work, on the days that they were at home. So we now work 2 days in the office and the rest is from home, but the office is open if anyone wants to come in.
All right, excellent. So it sounds like you've probably got a very strong culture inside the business as well.
Yeah, we're like a family. We all get on really, really well. We're all very open. We have a laugh. We like to go out and do things, go for meals, go for drinks. And I say to anyone, if you ever want anything, just ask. Like our growth is not just reliant on me, it's reliant on you guys and being happy and making sure that you're getting out of it, just as much as what I am. So I think that's one of the things that I've always, tried to make sure that everyone is happy, open, and if there's any issues, then they can come to us and we'll resolve it.
So what are your aspirations for the company in the next 5 years?
Ideally I would like to move premises, mainly because where we are at the moment, it's a shared office building. So lots of buildings in this place, but I'd like something that is dedicated for us, so that we can have a pool table, a tennis table, and a games room, so we can have all the fun stuff. We've got a beer fridge, but I would like a bar.
Okay,
all of these nice things. But no, seriously though, I'd like to definitely grow the team, and to double turnover, but that is like kind of probably a 2 to 3 year goal. Upwards and beyond, really. It's just growing the team and growing the clients and getting good clients as well, that want to grow with us.
How choosy are you about the clients that you work with?
We have something, a rule actually in place, where we'll only ever take on one type of client. So we never have any conflict of interest. So that's one thing since day one, I've always said, I do not want any conflict of interest with any clients. So some agencies, you'll find that, they'll specialize in a particular industry. But I find, so if you was thinking that, you're going to be an agency that specializes in law or legal industry businesses, and they might deal with lots of lawyers, essentially I would not take them on. I'd take one on, but if because if they're national, they're going to be competing against each other. So I would feel like I'm giving a bit of a disservice to them. If it was a localized business, so a dentist, for example, or a veterinary surgery, because they tend to have a smaller radius, then that's absolutely fine. So for example, you're not going to get a London veterinary surgery competing with one in Scotland. It just wouldn't happen. So that's one rule we have in place. And then in terms of any other kind of things that we would look at is, do we get on with them? Do they get on with us? Do they like us? Do they see the value in us? As long as we all get on and everyone's really friendly, open and honest, they have the same values as us, then we're happy to work with them. If it's a case of some businesses, they're small, they might be startups, I'm always happy to give them advice as well to get them kind of kick started. I do a lot of talks. We also do a few things like free competitor audits, just to get people a bit of information to get them started. That's essentially it, really.
Okay. And love the approach as well. So it's interesting, because what you're looking for in your clients is also what I look for in our clients as well. So it is actually, I like the way you said it as, do they see the value in us? So I've never used those words, but I think that's great as well. So what does the industry look like in the next 5 years? You talked about where you want to go, but what's the industry going to do?
That's a tough one. At the moment, if you talk to anybody, they're going to say, there's dramatic changes coming. And I think, that's true, especially with AI. So ChatGPT is something that people are talking about, they're playing with at the moment. It is very good. It's intelligent. You can create some amazing stuff with it. But at the same time, you can only use it up until a point. So yes, it can help people with being more productive and creating lots of amazing content, but at the same time it still needs a human touch.
Yeah.
So for example, I've used it to try and write content for us, and it gave me out of date information. Granted, it's only as good as the information it's kind of gathering and putting in. So that will change and develop over time. But it's stuff like that. If people aren't checking the quality that this AI is outputting, then they're going to struggle. So I think there is going to be a shift. I think people will utilize AI, hopefully to actually reduce some of the costs as well and pass that on to people, because some people might not know how to necessarily use it and use it in the right way. So we're thinking that yes, it's going to help us become more productive and actually save us time, and then we can obviously put that cost back onto the client. So actually, it's going to make digital marketing more accessible.
Okay, interesting. And you see any other trends that are going to impact marketing?
Other trends, I would say there's going to be a greater focus on things like digital PR, interactive content. Interactive content can be anything from forms on a website to you're going on a makeup website and you're trying on the makeup, or augmented reality where you can put a chest of drawers in a room, for example. So that, and also technical SEO. I think technical SEO, it still bamboozles a lot of people. They look at it and they think it's a magic art, but it's not. In a lot of cases, it's just having the right know-how. But I think even with the introduction of AI, there's still going to be a lot in terms of the technical SEO that is not going to cover. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Can we change tack a little bit then? So can I ask you what you'd say to anyone thinking of going into business on their own?
If you've got an idea and you really want to do it, do it. Don't wait. I think I set up Quibble just after I'd got a mortgage. Everyone thought I was loopy. Like, you've literally just got a mortgage, you've just got a house, and you're gonna give up the day job and go it alone. I didn't even do it as a side hustle. I literally I quit the day job and went for it. And I was like, if it's gonna work, it's gonna work. I'm that kind of person that I will work day, night, weekends, to make sure it is a success. So I think if you've got the right mentality, it will just happen. And even if it doesn't, so the first idea, even if it doesn't work, you'll do something else. And I think failure isn't a bad thing. You learn from it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we all make mistakes, stuff happens, and you move on to the next thing. But I think just don't wait, because people, I would say live with no regrets. And even if I've done something wrong, made a mistake, I don't regret it. I just learn from it.
Okay. So who is the first person that comes to mind when you think about success?
I don't want to be a cliche, but a lot of people will probably have heard of him, Stephen Bartlett.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, he's talking at BizX in 2 months' time.
Yeah, he's everywhere. He's young, he's successful, and I think he's just got the right values as well. He seems very open and honest. He's very just relaxed and seems just like a normal person, even though he's absolutely minted. And has this major success. I don't think he doesn't necessarily think he's better than anybody else. If anything, he wants to pass that knowledge on and wants to help people that also want to start up their own businesses or want to grow their businesses. But I think if anyone wants to look at somebody and learn from somebody, he's a great place to start. Yeah,
and I'm a big fan of Diary of a CEO.
Oh yeah.
And which is his podcast, and on that he does, I suppose, expose so much of himself as well. He's very open about what he's experienced, what he's been through.
He's just a normal person, and that's what I like. I think it's one of the things in business, you've got to be your genuine yourself. I think trying to be somebody else or even try and big yourself up, it doesn't work, and that will become tiring over time as well. So just be who you are, be genuine.
Yeah, okay, cool. Anna, it's been lovely talking to you today, and thanks for giving us so much insight into what you've been through, what you're doing, and I suppose a touch of the challenges that you run into as well. If anyone does want to work with Quibble, how should they contact you?
So they can connect with me on LinkedIn if they like. So I'm quite active on LinkedIn. Or they can email me, which is anna@quibblecontent.co.uk. Or yeah, messages through the website, which is quibble.digital. But always happy to help if it's a case of just pointing them in the right direction.
That's great. I'll add that into the comments for this video as well. Anna, thanks for your time today. It's been lovely talking to you, and good luck in the future.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.